Let's make a becket hitch tying loop for the end of your gathered end hammock. In the previous video, I showed you how to make this little piece right here. This is an inline loop. So in the description will be that video. To make this, we need a short piece, 9 inches long. This is 7/64 amsteel, and then a long piece, 22 inches long. So we begin at the center of the 22-inch long piece. To find the center, it's real easy. Just fold it in half, and then there's the center. And we have a little latch hook splicer, so we're going to go between the braid. And if you don't have a latch hook, you have to do one strand at a time. But since I have a latch hook, I can grab this and pull it through. Bend it over and pull it through. And this is going to give me 2 strands over here. If you try to do that with a normal splicer like this, your splicing tool will get captured. So keep that in mind. So now we're just taking our short piece and finding the center of it too by folding it. And then we're going to leave 2 inches of it out. So there we have 2 inches of it. And now we're just going to begin splicing. Starting with the short strands, we're going to grab the long strand, pull it through, grab the short strand, pull it through in order to make it look like that. So we start with the short piece and grab the long piece and pull it through. See? So I'm just going to grab that long piece, pull it through the short piece. Once you get these two initial pull the long piece through the short piece parts of this done, it'll come together. It'll seem obvious. So I pulled the long piece through one of the short pieces, and then I'm going to do the same thing to the other short piece. This is kind of like tying a button knot. You're just doing the same thing on either side. It's symmetrical. So I'm going to pull the long piece through. So see what we have. So we're just going to continue doing that down. Now, yes, you can actually just stop right here and bury the long piece, or I'm sorry, the short piece down inside of the long piece. But it works better for becket hitch tying if you do it the way that I'm going to show you, because it makes it more dense in this area. If you just want an inline loop at this point, you can just bury the short pieces. But what I'm going to do is pull the short pieces through and create a series of splices. So the short piece just goes through the long piece again. Look at that, it's screwed up. So see, now I got to start again. Let's try the latch hook. There we go. So we're just going to pull that through. So you see how it's starting to look? I just got splicing down either side. Okay, pulling the short piece through the long piece again. And so now I can't bury the short piece because it would just come out of its current splice. So I got to go one more time, pulling the long piece through the short piece. So I got the long piece through the short piece on this side, and now you can see to finish this side, I'm just going to be burying the short piece inside of there. So let me go back to this other side, go back through the short piece, capture the long piece and pull it through. And I kind of screwed up. I didn't split the strands properly. Must be stage fright. Okay, so I got the long piece coming through the short piece. So basically we're just splicing and repeating. And now I'm just going to bury the short pieces down inside the long piece. Capture that short piece. Yeah, it's getting a little frayed. That's okay. Once it gets inside of here and gets squeezed down by the other braid, it'll be perfect. One last short piece to bury. Super easy. Barely an inconvenience. Okay. Isn't this like the most exciting video you've ever watched? Okay, so we've just done our series of splices. And you can see we just copied that thing. And so now to finish the loop, we're just going to do a couple berries down here at the end. And as you can see, we just also have an inline loop. So this can also just be an inline loop, like in a ridgeline or other type of thing. So we just need 2.5 inches at the end. Do a locked Brummel at 2.5 inches. Go through one strand and capture the other strand. And for the next part of the splice, make sure and go this direction. So the next time you enter the braid will be above that first one. Otherwise, you will get a failure. It won't lock up properly. So just enter the braid and capture that other piece. There it is, into the splicer. And so see what we did there? Just got a locked Brummel. Then just fold them back and bury them inside of each other. 2.5 inches is all that's needed. There's not a lot of grip happening right here. So you really don't need a super deep bury. The main function right now to keep this thing from coming apart, where this braid is all braided, that's what's holding this together. And if you put that braid inside of this braid, it squeezes it down and prevents it from coming apart. So it's really not about having a ton of grip force from a deep bury. It's about holding the braid together. If you're making like a soft shackle for a certified sailing rig, then ignore my advice. But if you're making hammock suspension or other similar camping gear, then my advice will serve you well. Okay, so now we can just bury this piece. It seems like we might be done with this pretty soon. Here we go. Bury the piece. This thing is really fuzzy. What should I do? There we go. Freaking thing. Okay, here we go. We're on the final stretch. So we got that piece buried, pull it tight, pull the braid over it, and voila. We have our becket tying loop. There's a couple other versions of this, but this one's my favorite. Because you might notice there's a little bit of cantilever action right here. And it grips thin webbing really well. There's another version I'll show you guys later where you begin the splice by going through this piece. You take your long piece and splice it through the short piece and then begin your lock Brummels. But that piece, when you do it that way, when you tie a becket hitch, it tends to deform sideways, I've noticed. So this is my favorite one, and that's how you do it. The finished product looks just like this. Thanks for watching. See you guys next time.